I'm here today to talk about Florida's Python management program. And I emphasize Florida's problem, Florida's program, because it's not a district problem, it's not a commission problem, it's not a Park Service problem, it's everybody's problem, and it's everybody's effort that's going to help fix it. So, if you haven't seen in the news, we've had this problem for quite a while, too. For decades, Florida's been plagued with an invasive reptile that has found a home uniquely similar to its native home range. The Everglades ecosystem, with a subtropical climate, shallow waters, and abundance of animal life, has turned out to be a perfect place for the Burmese python. As you can see in this photo in the upper left is from Southeast Asia, and the photo on the bottom is from the Florida Everglades. Very, very similar in habitat structure. The Burmese python was likely introduced into Florida by accident or intentional releases by pet owners. Since making their way into the Everglades, these giant constrictors have thrived, assuming top position on the food web. Here a little bit of history on what we've done over the last 10, 20 years. The National Park Service began their authorized agent program unofficially in 2008 as a volunteer program, which was formalized in 2014, with the addition of Big Cypress National Preserve in 2017. The district and FWC launched their respective paid python programs in March of 2017, and since then, python removal has increased as much as 200% in some areas. These programs have demonstrated to be the most effective python removal tool in our toolbox. So this diagram helps visualize that effort over the last 20 years. There's been about 8,000 or 9,000 pythons removed in that 20-year period, but just in the past 3 years alone, we're over 3,700 pythons removed from the python paid programs. You can see that little hump in 2008 is when Everglades National Park began their agent program. Our continued partnership on this and other facets of python control are crucial for our collective long-term success. On August 7th of this year, Governor Ron DeSantis joined the Florida Fish and Wildlife Commission and the South Florida Water Management District in announcing python removal efforts to protect the greater Everglades. Under his leadership, Governor DeSantis directed the state and federal agencies to coordinate management goals and actions and to maximize removal efforts, specifically to expand contractor and volunteer removal programs and to align programs both in access and hiring requirements. So what we're going to be doing over the coming months is doubling our number of contractors. The district has 25 paid contractors, and they have each upwards of 3 assistants at a time with them. FWC has 40 or so python contractors. The district is going to bring our total up to 50. FWC is going to bring their total up to 50. And the National Park Service has increased their authorizations to 250. Now that sounds like a lot of python contractors, but what we're going to be doing is maximizing not only the removal, but the area where we remove. This slide shows, let me go back one, where the district contractors currently work. Going the wrong way. Followed by FWC's current project area. When you combine the two, this is what we're going to be doing over the coming months. We're combining our efforts, not having FWC contract areas, district contract areas, but one program area, one playing field where all the contractors will be able to remove pythons. However, the largest single obstacle in combating python invasion is detection. Due to its cryptic nature, as Newton explained before, coupled with the vastness and relatively inaccessibility of the Everglades, simply locating these animals remains the greatest single challenge. With increased understanding of the python's behavior and life cycle, we hope to better predict the movement across the landscape, increase our ability to target removal efforts, and ultimately provide greater reduction of python populations. We tackle this problem by implementing vetted technologies such as detection dogs, telemetry or sentinel snakes that are being used on the West Coast, and the use of environmental DNA as a screening tool to tell us if there's the presence or absence in a particular area. It will also be soliciting new research proposals for new technology to improve python detection and removal. Our agencies have committed to engaging with the public on this front as well. On December 5th, Governor Ron DeSantis announced the 2020 Python Challenge. And for those that have lived here in Florida the last 10 years or so, we've had two other challenges, one in 2013 and another one in 2016. Under Governor DeSantis' direction, we're going to be holding these challenges every single year now. But this year, it's going to be a little bit different. Since the Super Bowl is now going to be in Miami in February, the Super Bowl host committee is getting much more involved. By using its voice to leverage Florida's conservation efforts and message our issues internationally, we're going to have a much different and much larger reach with this Python Challenge. It's going to bring worldwide awareness to invasive species issues and promote public engagement. The Python Challenge will begin, at 10 a.m. on January 10th, and will go through 5 p.m. on January 19th. There'll be two categories going along the theme of football. The Python Bowl will have two categories, one for pros, one for rookies. The pros will be the contractors currently employed by the district or FWC, and the rookies are the ones that are not. There will also be active duty personnel and veterans may be eligible for additional prizes as well in this year's event. Registration costs $25. Is that right, Sarah? And it'll be 24 hours a day during those time periods, except for areas of Big Cypress Wildlife Management Area. There'll be an online training session required for all registration. It's about a 30-minute training seminar. You need to pass it by 80% in order to register for the competition. And everybody that registers for the competition gets t-shirt and swag bag and all kinds of stuff. And this is where it's going to occur. It's going to occur in Holy Land, Rotenberger, and Everglades Francis S. Taylor Wildlife Management Areas, Southern Glades WEA, Rocky Glades, Frog Pond, and Big Cypress Wildlife Management Area. There's going to be a pretty cool award ceremony. In the past, we've had award ceremonies just under like a 10-foot by 10-foot tent with a plastic table. But this year, because of the Super Bowl and because of the involvement of the Super Bowl committee, we're going to be having our award ceremony at Bayfront Park in downtown Miami as part of the Environmental Village. There's going to be like 100,000 people at this event each day. The district and FWC is going to have a really cool information booth set up, and we've got the main stage as our backdrop. We've got the Super Bowl as our backdrop, so I can't even imagine a bigger venue for this thing to occur. Again, the challenge, register for it. The website is up. It's flpythonchallenge.org, and you'll find all the cool information about how to register, information about the species, information about other invasive species, because it's really about educating the public, about getting people out there, understanding what we're doing, what we're trying to protect, and it's going to be a cool event. With that, I'll take any questions.
FWC right now is given classes for catching the pythons and
Python
stuff.
Patrol.
If you're registered and you take that class, do you still have to take the online registration for the Super Bowl Challenge?
I believe you do. Just you'd probably fly right through it with 100%, I'm sure.
Okay, and the second question is, if you want to be a contractor, who do you contact in which divisions and which agencies?
We currently have, at the district, we've closed the application process. We got about 2,500 applicants in about a month. So we've got a lot of screening to go through just to get to those highly qualified 25 individuals. I'm not sure if FWC currently has their application process open. It's still open, so you can go to myfwc.com and there are links there to find out more about that. Yep.
You show on the land that the tribal lands are included in the python hunt areas. Our contractors working those areas?
In regards to the Python Challenge, Python Bowl, that the Miccosukee Tribe Reservation is not included, if that's the map that you're looking at. Now, if you're referring to the greater program that we're deploying our agents, as you can see also, it's excluded. It's only those, that bottom, that green area there.
Yeah, the tribe is doing activities, python removal on their property. They're not part of our statewide effort, but they are trying to remove pythons from their property.
But their captures are not recorded, as I understand, and if I'm correct.
Your mic is not on.
Their catches are not recorded, as I understand it, and also the largest python reportedly was captured on tribal land.
Yes, we just had an annual meeting with Miccosukee Tribe last month, and they do have a very robust python removal program within their wildlife department. And while they may not be sharing those specific data points with us, I'm assured that they are removing plenty of pythons and doing what they can do with what they have.
Yeah, I just think the tribe should be included. That's bothers me. The other thing is the licensed and contract employees choose where they go, when they go, how they go. So they kind of bunch up, as I recall.
Yeah, that's why we have premium pay built into our programs. Currently, the contractors get $8.46 an hour to do their survey crews day and night, regardless if they find a python or not. But we need to push them, like you said, into the interior marshes, into the SDAs, into the refuge. So we are doing that by promoting additional incentives with a higher pay in those key areas like the STAs, the refuge, and FWC has a similar type of program with areas that they want to target.
My final remark is the training shows using gloves on your hands and a snake hook and catching them in open fields, catching snakes that have been caught many times before, very docile snakes, so to speak. And, you know, I think that's a disservice to the public thinking that they can walk up and walk around the snake for a couple of minutes. The other thing is, which bothers me the most, is anybody that's ever caught any snake knows that snakes will slime you. And I think you need to prepare the public to the fact they're going to smell like a skunk after you catch a snake.
Well, Bob, a lot of our snakes that we use in our training were just caught the day or night before, so not all of them we don't use tame snakes in our training, so, and they often musk the trainer first, so we usually take that for the team, but then people do get acquainted with that smell, and it is quite pungent. I agree.
Anybody that's ever dealt with a snake, if you take a snake out of a bag, it's sort of like taking a drunk out of the bar into the bright light. You know, they're very disoriented.
I have a question. Most of this is done at night. Is that correct?
The challenge is open 24 hours a day, and depending on the season, there's better chances during the summer at night. Yes, is a better time to collect pythons, but the months ahead, you'll find the best time to collect and catch pythons would be from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m.
Sunning in the cooler weather.
That's right.
Okay. Now, access. This is basically riding levees and roads. And these levees and roads are not all open 24/7, 365. So is basically the gates are just going to be open and for all this period of time?
There will be pedestrian and bike access in everywhere but Southern Glades, Rocky Glades, and Frog Pond. If I have that correct, Sarah, we're going to be issuing special use licenses for vehicular access into some of the most productive areas in Miami-Dade.
Yeah.
So you will be able to take a vehicle on district levees in Frog Pond, Rocky Glades, and Southern Glades.
And I'm sure the sheriff will have traffic control at some of the intersections out there, because it's obviously going to be a free-for-all to a certain degree. And it should be a lot of fun for a lot of people. I
Yeah.
like it when it says
There'll be a lot of support out there. There are going to be
amateur rookies, everybody else. That's the crowd I want to see.
Safety is key. We're going to have 7 check stations throughout the program area. FWC will have law enforcement throughout the program area. District and FW biologists will be out there as well, making sure everybody's operating safely.
It should be a great news event. Okay, anyone else? Yes, Bishop.
Bob, I got to tell you, to say that snake's docile after it's been in a bag, my experience was with it, with the youth hunting program, the snakes they caught out in the field were more docile than that one that was in the bag. When you turned it loose, it wasn't docile at all. It was ready to fight. All right? So I think that's an experience everybody in this room ought to try at least once. It's not a sleeping snake. But I got one question, Roy.
Yeah.
What is the predators in Southeast Asia? How do they keep these snakes under wraps down there? I mean, what's the difference between this picture and that picture? There must be a picture here.
Right. So they've co-evolved in their native range in Southeast Asia. So there's natural predators, large cats, diseases, viruses, human interaction that just has not occurred here in Florida. So you've taken, just like with other invasive plants and animals, you've taken a plant or animal from an area that it co-evolved into a new environment that doesn't have the natural predators, that doesn't have the viruses and bacteria and germs and human interaction that it had in its native home range, and they flourish.
Yes, sir.
As a contractor for the district, when we work, we're required to have a liability insurance policy for our vehicle to be on any of your properties. Are these snake hunters and everything going to have insurance, or how does that work?
Are you speaking of the challenge or the ongoing program?
Any of it. As a contractor, to come and do guard duty for your divers, for alligators, I'm required to have insurance to be on the property with my vehicle. If you've got other people on the property, are they required as well to have insurance, or how does it work? I don't understand that they can drive on the property without it, and I, as a contractor, can't.
Right. So there are waivers that you need to sign to hold the district harmless during those activities during the challenge. That's what will be spelled out in those special use licenses.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
In regards to Southeast Asia, they, in some places, they're extinct. The pythons are hunted so much by humans that there's places they really don't exist anymore.
Well, I think key here is access, and they would be extinct.
If,
I said this back when we started this Python program. Never, 20 years ago, never did I think the wild hog was going to be extinct. But when they took away the bag limit and made them an exotic species, they're extinct. I will have to say the cat had a lot to do with that, but I say you give the hunters access and turn them loose, they could put a hurting on some snakes. I would like to think that we could get them extinct. But I got faith. I said this not too long ago at this meeting. You can wipe out the wild hog, you can wipe out these snakes. All you got to do is give us access.
I know in Southeast in Asia, where there are natural habitats, there are a lot of indigenous people. I mean, unlike here, where the swamps are not inhabited by very many people, over there they're inhabited, and believe me, they're constantly on the wildlife or whatever, and the snakes are under pretty good control. However, there are a couple of times that I've been more than a couple of times I've been through there. there are some really large snakes, I tell you, in that area. And we haven't seen them here yet, quite that large. But, yeah, Bob?
I suggest you go on YouTube and look for the natives that wrap cloth around their leg and stick it down a hole for a snake to swallow to bring them out.
Yeah, yeah.
I do that all the time.
Yes, young man.
Yeah, I'd just like to say thank you to the district. I live 20 minutes away from Southern Glades and Rocky Glades and Frog Pond, and I hunt big cypress, so this all like hits real close to home. So I just want to say thank you for all your efforts.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. All right, anyone else? Can we let Roy? Yes, sir.
I just want to piggyback on what Bishop said there. I'm also real close to Southern Glades and Rocky Glades, and a majority of the snakes down there come out of those areas, and Chiquita State Park, that's closed down, and they're all gated for the most part. Very few times they open those gates throughout the year, and I'm anxious to see what happens when we get vehicle access into those areas, at least for this short time. And I appreciate you guys opening up the gates so we can hopefully catch some snakes out of there.
I ride the Glades levee area on the East Everglades. And I don't see too many snakes on the levee, but if you go into the old roads, that's where you're going to see them, and the old camps that are back there. And are they going to go into those areas too, or are they going to stay just on the levee?
I'd have to refer to that area in greater detail. I'm not exactly sure where you're talking about.
Yeah. Well, it's the East Everglades where they did the levee between the land they took
Right.
and the land that they just took everything out of it. Okay? And that area is mostly, there's some farms on one side, and then there's the glades on the other side. On the side of the glades is where we've spotted the pythons. But I don't see cars if they're not, getting in there because the water is about a foot high in some places deeper. So
Well,
I don't know
certainly
how
if
you're
there
gonna get
are areas
people-
that we're missing, either, moving forward with future challenges and future program areas, we need to close those gaps, close those loopholes.
All right.
So we can talk further and identify those areas.
All right.
All right?
Anyone else? All right, thank you, Corey.
Thank you.